For a guy to date you, what does he need to bring?
Stable job, good family,
Happiness.
kindness, intellectual. He needs to be like smart, not just like academic smart, but like, needs to be outgoing.
How much does a good job pay?
We're about to be seniors in college, right?
So define
like,
good job.
You define it.
Well, I would say right out of college, if my man is not making at least 90K, he's not gonna be my man.
At what age do you typically graduate college?
I'll graduate when I'm 22.
Okay, so 22, he needs to be pulling out 90K.
Oh yeah, I know so many people.
If you're
So
doing
many
the right
people.
career path and you
Yeah.
want to, if you're going for what you want, maybe it's less than 90K, but as long as you're achieving what you
85,
want to achieve.
80, no, not achieving. Motherfucker, you say achieving what you want to achieve. Gonna be a fucking like theater or something. No.
Just
85 to 90K, I feel like is a stable income right out of college, especially I guess in our field.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they do nothing all day.
Do we need men?
No, like, they just sit there.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they're icky.
How did he find 3 tiny girls all dressed in just insane fashion? Tough world out there for men. It really is, both on this and the dating side of things. Somebody said, that's the same person 3 times. Thank you. That's what I think. Somebody else said, pay attention to me. You must look at me. I require attention, whether it's good or bad attention. I do not care. Just pay attention to me. Yeah, that's why they're all dressed like that and why they say things like that. It's all for shock value.
What is really crazy is that when these high-value women talk about why they deserve a perfect guy, they only talk about their good jobs, their financial independence, their looks, what they bring to the table, etc. And none of them say they can be a great mother, can be compassionate, loving, supportive, and will build a great future with their partner. They have no reason to be angry. They were the ones who ignored us when we were 18 to 30. I mean, they didn't think we would wait for them to reach 35 to 40, did they? It's so crazy how people think these days. Besides, most are not looking like they did at 20, at all.
I'm going to show you what's going on in the dating market. And also, dating apps will back up what I'm saying. So now we have the women and the men that date each other. No. The problem is that these women are delusional enough to think, these women here and here are delusional enough to think that they deserve this and this, when really they deserve this. So the point is, if the men that are if the, and even those guys, I really do believe there sometimes, this is selling a dream a little bit.
So the other person is like consistently working, which is a good thing, but they're not making any time for you at all. So it's like, it gets to like 2 or 3 weeks. So then if I'm trying to see him, but he's telling me how interested he is, how much he wants to see me, but then he's just not seeing me.
We already know this. Girls, they want 2 things that can't happen at the same time. They want the guy who's going to make so much money, but also
has bare time for you.
So yeah, we don't have time.
And then a gang-banging nice guy.
If you want a guy that's going to spend time with you, find a guy that works 9 to 5, which is most lovely, nice.
It's them who have competition now, same as we did when we were younger. We, men, peak at different ages. That is the reality. Of course, I will go for the younger ones now that I have options, and so will any man. When a woman understands that she will be happy in every or nearly every way when she lets a man control her entire life and serves him entirely, she will finally get it. The problem with this is that all media says the exact opposite of that, and it's ruining the essence of what it means to be a woman ultimately. What I hate the most is that men are supposed to achieve success in life, but when women do it, they are independent, confident, and successful.
If you have a man that is like even just slightly above average, like how do you not spend almost all your time just like bragging about him? As far as I'm concerned, bragging about my husband is like my favorite extracurricular activity. It's like a full-time hobby because here's why. My younger self, I've seen some shit when it comes to men. Like I've been in the trenches, okay? So when I found my husband and I started dating him, like I was marking all that territory, like that mine. And 7 years later, Despite all of our struggles, despite all of the stuff we've been through, despite all of the things that...
This is the type of woman that motivates her husband to be the best man possible. And she is who more single women need to listen to, instead of that single woman that says that men shouldn't be praised for doing the bare minimum. Because there is no minimum. You're not his job. You're his partner, and you should both appreciate doing the little things for each other without expectations.
A man may earn 100K a year, but it's okay because he's supposed to. But when a woman reaches 100K, she's strong and successful. Making money takes time. Only some women do not consider dating a poor man with goals, but would rather wait until he becomes rich. Then, they dare to approach you when you are successful and act as if they are your best choice. And to tell you the truth, I don't think age is a main factor in this. These girls date older guys because of money, and because few people are born into money and it takes time to establish a fortune, so the guys are older by the time they can afford all these hot girls. I can assure you that in the town where I grew up, no sane 20-year-old would fall for a 40-something miner or railway man. Besides, these girls are gathering experience so that in a few years they themselves can be bitter old jealous women. I don't understand women complaining about men dating younger. I know a few women dating younger men by a decade, and no one complains about that.
Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. And that's all women's fault, of course. Because, no, it is, because women choose the winners, right? Women choose who the high status males are. Women pretend to give a shit about men, of course they don't. A woman, if you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much, I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic and interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat. And is funny and good looking and strong. I don't want much. Like, they name all this shit that most dudes are never gonna have.
When these older women were in their 20s, they would have jumped at the chance to date an older, stable, successful man, or an older man on his way to that level of status. It was only when they got older that they concluded that older men shouldn't be dated by younger women, because they are getting bitter, resentful, and left behind. Men get better, wiser, more stable, and more attractive as they age. Women go in the opposite direction. These particular women felt entitled in their 20s, so instead of getting with guys their own age and being good wives to them, nothing was ever good enough for them. I preferred to be with a woman my age because we would have grown up with the same stuff and could relate to each other more easily. Instead, I'll probably be with a girl much younger than me because the girls my age went for the older guys. They shame us for anything that breaks their reality of, I'm perfect. Women genuinely believe they deserve a Prince Charming. They lack empathy to understand that men desire different things. Many men want to be that first physically, romantically, and with experiences such as traveling. The more experience a man has, the more he wants to give. The more experience a woman has, the more she expects, and the more she wants to experience those things with other men. Men want to provide and protect, but they dislike feeling obligated to do such things, and that too, without an appreciation or respect. This is another example of how women as a group create so many of their problems on the dating scene. I'm sure these women in their 30s were the exact type of women who, when they were early 20s, dated older men. Also, the women now in their early 20s, who find themselves single in their 30s, are going to dislike how younger women are taking the older men. When a woman goes online and says, I don't need a man for this, that, and the other, that means she desperately needs a man for all those things, but is afraid for her life she'll never get him. It's so simple when they see men have choices. They want to change guys or want someone who matches every expectation of them. And even when men try hard to do that and fail at the little point, they reject them. When men get in power and don't want them, they start feeling sad, and now they want them, even if they have a little of what they want. But as you know now, men won't go there because now they have the options. The only thing I don't get is, men and women in their 30s and 40s will only date a perfect 10. Or, if you're willing to date someone over 25, 28, don't be surprised when they have a kid or are married. The older women complaining about the lack of men in their 30s and 40s were the same 20-somethings in the past who were having fun with older men. They are attacking their past selves and bad decisions. It's a cycle that never ends, and probably never will. Modern women think guys date younger women because they're easy to manipulate. Older women. You have created the issue you are now complaining about. You have become combative, overly argumentative and demanding, too stressed, and simply unpleasant to be with. No man wants to go near that. It's not about your age, really. It is about your attitude. You are now too scarred and miserable to the point of being non-cooperative, unsupportive, and cold in a relationship. Of course, if Chad and Tyrone are the only men ever visible to you, then do not wonder why he has options and prefers to go for younger, more accessible women. It's true about older men and options for women. I think it's the confidence and capabilities of an older guy that turns them on. However, the thing that shocks me is the lack of manners and basic respect for younger women. They are crass. Most of the time, if you engage with one of those women, they can't handle getting checked for being rude and ungrateful. They are just not equipped to process a man setting boundaries and standards. Successful older men have their choices increased, while successful older women have their choices narrowed, and this small number of choices is what frustrates them the most. Women expected to party for a decade, then land a top-tier man in time to pop a few kids and live happily ever after. A few pull it off, but most end up alone, medicated, bitter, and somewhat impoverished. Of course, it's all men's fault. Of course. I've seen women's videos talking to men about dating, and the men say, "Why would I marry you?" And the women say that they're not talking about marriage, they're talking about dating. The men point out that men date someone they think has marriage potential, and the women are always like, no. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.